New Zealand just recently announced that anyone born after 2007 will never be able to purchase cigarettes or tobacco. How do you feel about this? I'm sure vape companies are ecstatic. As are kids born in 2006. Gotta love those government supplier contracts. Right? They basically just propped up a very easy black market side job for anyone that can still buy them. Prohibition doesn't work, people are gonna do drugs if they want to no matter what the government says. Banning them just makes it go underground. Imagine when people are 30, 40, 50, etc. years old and have to prove date of birth to a clerk. The year is 2065. I'm 56, can I buy cigarettes? No, 57 and over, sorry. Well, you see that 56-year-old will have never gotten hooked if the plan works. However, every smoker I've known got hooked before turning 18, legal age for cigarettes and alcohol in my country. Will be interesting to see how the guys who got smokes illegally at 15 go having to continue that their whole life, having their older siblings or friends buy them smokes as adults. What a dynamic change. Having old people stand in dark corners trying PSSTU. Hey kid. Cough cough cough, you want some ciggies? Wheeze, how about some trail mix? Dried fruits? Well, that's alright dearie, I'll always be here when you need me. Cough, cough cough. Catch me outside selling Lucy's to your 40-year-old kid for 30 NZ dollars a pop. Literally the first thing in my head, I live in a dodgy area and you can't walk in and out of a dairy without some rat bags hitting you up for a ciggy. Bruh, save your ciggy like a Bitcoin. Once all the dealers sold their stock and tobacco farms are no longer, you'll be able to sell a pack for thousands. Tobacco eventually expires. It just goes stale and burns harsher. Not like a dried up bush just magically loses the ability to catch on fire anymore. On a long enough timeline, it's likely that heat death and universal entropy will render that cigarette unlightable. About 15 years ago I lit up a cigarette from a World War II era German cigarette pack. I think people stashing cigarettes now to sell later will be fine. Well, you just outed yourself, Steve 1989 Reinfo. Nice. Okay. Pretty indifferent. All the kids here vape. Smoking's a dying trend as far as I can tell. Everyone I know who smokes cigarettes hates that they do. So yeah, no one new need get sucked into the addiction. Everyone who smokes a pipe or cigars loves it though. Prohibiting the legal sale of addictive substances is definitely a proven solution that has never failed anywhere else. I mean, sucks to suck, I suppose. 2003 gang edit. Thank you all for 1K plus upvotes. I feel a strange entrepreneurial feeling washing over me. I think organized crime is very happy about this. Read something a couple days ago, organized NZ crime already are selling tobacco, more profits for them I guess. I work with many New Zealanders. They all quit smoking like 3 years ago. Some cited health but most simply couldn't afford it anymore. They said a pack is something crazy like $23. NZ $30 to $40 for a pack from a half-decent brand. I quit nearly 7 months ago and have saved about $4,000 so far. From how I'm understanding this, there will be whole generations who will be banned from buying cigarettes legally, right? So far seeing this means there will be a time where cigarettes will be completely banned in NZ, when people born before 2007 die off. What an interesting policy. It's slowly encouraging the complete and total removal of access to cigs, without grabbing current and older users by the neck. I wonder what cultural change this will cause. Very cool. Edit, by very cool I mean that it's a policy that looks forward and is not sort of a band-aid solution. I'm in a country where laws are made so haphazardly without even looking at the long-term effects. So it was cool for me to see a law made like that. My stance is neutral on this, since 1, I'm not a NZ citizen, I don't know what's good for their country, 2, I'm not a smoker. I recognize that nicotine is an addictive substance, and like many others, banning is not exactly the best way to deal with it. But, unlike other substances, cigs don't exactly have a health benefit. Puts us in an interesting dilemma, if I may say so. I just want to see what it will be like in 2095 or whatever, when like 15 old men will be the only legal smokers. I'm curious when tobacco companies will stop sending product because it's not worth it. Importing 10,000 of something is one thing, importing 10 is another. Smoking is dying slow death by itself. Such blanket prohibition might make it attractive again. Give them pie. Make sure you blow on it first. Safer communities, together. I am against smoking, but I think laws like this are troublesome because it sets a precedent for other unhealthy products. What is next? Alcohol and fast food? Discouraging the use of these products is good in my opinion, by banning them is bad. Yup. I think cigarettes should never have been invented and are ducking absolutely disgusting, but this allows the government to decide what's bad for everyone and then ban it. No more bacon, no more processed meats, no more red meat, etc. You know what the quickest way is to make smoking cool again among teenagers? For real. I barely see Gen Z smokers like I did millennials. Even amongst millennials, it seemed like smoking died out except with heavy drinkers. Can't imagine this doing anything but adding an allure to it. Best way to tell someone is American is when they say this. Smoking among young people is still very, very common in Europe. That's wild. A decade ago, young adults who drank a lot usually smoked. Now you're an exception if you're a millennial who smokes, and I hardly see Gen Z smoke over vaping. Cigars too? Those can cause health problems too, of course, but those seem mostly limited to celebrations or special occasions. I don't know if we should tell people they forever can't have those. I wonder if there is an exception for religion, as there is often one. I take it that pipes play a role in certain cultural circles. Or in sense, as the British scientific magazine New Scientist reports in its current issue, scientists have discovered dangerously high concentrations of carcinogenic chemicals in incense. Thus, the measured values of a substance suspected of causing lung cancer were more than 40 times higher in a poorly ventilated Taiwanese temple than in the home of a smoker. I believe it doesn't cover loose tobacco. Not sure about cigars. Edit, I am still pretty sure I heard this somewhere, but I can't find a reference for it either, so maybe I am confusing it with something else. Don't trust me if you need an answer for sure. Every government makes stupid decisions. But at least I like that. Some nation does experiments like this. This isn't my country. I understand that most people posting here are anti-cigarettes, as am I. But shouldn't adults be able to choose if they want to smoke or not? If the government is concerned about the health consequences of smoking, then would be nice to see similar legislation against alcohol, fast food, vapes, etc. Personally, I want to be able to buy cocaine at the gas station. Dystopian AF, from a Kiwi. Ducking authoritarians. Outright banning substances is never the answer, nor should that be the job of a government to make those decisions. Honestly, people should be allowed to make their own decisions about whether or not they want to smoke. Like, I know that smoking isn't good for you, but I feel like it should be up to you as an individual on whether you want to smoke or not. So they gonna ban soda and force people to exercise next? It's an unbelievably bad idea. I smoked cigarettes for about 8 years, quit about 5 years ago, and will still smoke a cigar about once a month. I really enjoyed smoking them and particularly credit them for helping me escape a cult I was trapped in at the time, as they definitely gave me a mental break and offered a quick perspective shift. Also helped me through some years of grinding poverty. I believe there are certain pleasures you simply should not take away from people. Part of being an adult is making risk-reward choices for yourself, instead of the state becoming our mommy. Like, what is the innovation loss when you protect people from putting mind-altering substances in their bodies? I know this might sound like a slippery slope argument, but I fear this is horseshoe theory that comes full circle with the oppressive fundamentalist right-wing ideologues. Red meat has carcinogens, sex can be harmful. No need to tie us with a ball and chain to protect humans from the human experience. Because that worked so well for alcohol. And weed. And opium. The war on drugs was fought and the drugs won. Don't look for a rematch because the result will be the same. Government has been making it harder and harder for decades to get smokes and tobacco by taxing the hell out of it, plus education is reaching the public. Smoking rates have been falling dramatically, so this was the next logical step. I suspect it's a fairly popular move. I'm all for it as it's better for the health of all anyway. A place with politicians who can't mind their own business can be accurately described as a shithole. Imagine not being given choices as an adult in a game where you die at the end anyway.